What is up, and welcome to a very special episode of the Ride Companion. So, it's a couple of days since we recorded this episode, and to be honest, I expected by now to have some sort of idea how to introduce and frame it, but I don't. The truth is, my head is still in a bit of a funk, so I think it's best that we just let this conversation and let this guest do the talking. Just to give a very brief overview though, if you are new to this podcast, then a couple of years ago, this topic somehow came up in a conversation on one of our lockdown companion episodes. I mentioned to my regular co-host, Ollie Wilkins, that I had a family member who could speak to dead people. Naturally, we thought it would be fun to get her on the podcast, but as you'll discover during this conversation, she isn't exactly out to get any type of notoriety or fame or anything from this gift that she appears to have. In fact, it's the exact opposite. She keeps this very much on the down low, and we get into the reasons why during this episode. Anyway, she was kind enough to be open to just sit down with me for a chat in her home. This is honestly one of the most fascinating conversations I've ever had in my life. In my opinion, it kind of changes everything. But I'm going to let you be the judge of that. Please listen to this conversation with an open heart, an open mind, and I hope you appreciate her being so honest about her experiences and what it's like to go through life this way. Okay, before we drop into this episode though, I want to say a really quick thank you to our show sponsor, AG1. AG1 is the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it literally every day and have been for over 18 months now. I've seen huge benefits in my energy, my overall health, and it's just a lovely habit to start the day and get things rolling. So AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple drinkable habit. It is a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients. AG1 is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category, and it just helps you feel overall better knowing that you have covered all of your nutrition bases, which is why I'm such a fan. It's a simple thing to do in the morning. It's just one scoop, a little bit of water. You can even mix it into a protein shake, or you could mix it into some sort of smoothie that you make. And again, you're going to know that you've covered your nutritional bases with 75 different whole food sourced ingredients, vitamins, and probiotics. So, if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then why not try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Simply head to drinkag1.com/ridecompanion. That's drinkag1.com/ridecompanion and check it out and feel better and do more. Okay, right. Let's drop into this episode. I really hope you guys enjoy it. You'll not even notice when we started. We'll just carry on like normal.
Okay.
So this subject came up like 2 years ago. So me and the dude who I usually do the podcast with, Ollie, we did this show for a bit, right? It's called The Lockdown Companion, and every week we just talked kind of rubbish. There wasn't really any point to it. It was like we're mid-lockdown, it was a bit crazy, and we were just talking about anything and everything. And the subject of, I think it was death, came up. I think that's what it was. So I just said, oh, I have a family member who I think, actually, what would I say? Like, what can you do? What is it?
It's quite simple. I do see dead people.
You see dead people,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's, okay, and I think that's how I phrased it. I think I was like, I have a friend who can, I have a family member and a friend who can see and speak to dead people. And Ollie was like, what? Obviously, because it's kind of everyone's going to do that, right? It isn't the most normal thing, right? I just treading carefully, so I don't want to offend you, obviously.
Don't worry.
So it's not like, not many people can do it. I think I saw a stat online. It's like apparently 1% of the world's population.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Say they can. Whether they can, I don't know, but they have this gift. So obviously Ollie was like, let's get her on. That'd be such a cool conversation. And then obviously we spoke about it. You're like, yeah, I don't know. But we're going to just chat today.
Yeah.
And I'm just super curious and like interested in this topic. I think for loads of reasons. Number one, it's because we've never really spoke about it together, just me and you.
No.
I've spoke to your mum about it more.
Yeah.
I remember that my first sort of, what would you call it? My first experience of someone talking about this and you was, I used to spend a lot of time in America when I was younger. And I remember coming home from the States and my dad picked me up from the airport and we were just driving up the motorway, chatting away. And it was at a time when there wasn't really like, there was internet, but like we didn't talk that often. We went like 6 months really without speaking. He picks me up from the airport and we're driving back and he's like, you're never going to guess what's
been happening.
while you've been away, this has happened. And then you're just like, what? And that's the first I remember hearing about it, which was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was 10, I think, when it started.
You were 10. How old are you now?
I'm 28.
28. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 18 years. Yeah, it is. It's about right. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about 18 years ago, which is, wow, it's a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember we're driving back and my dad's just telling me these stories and obviously I'm like, what? Like none of this was going on when I left. Okay, all right. And then again, I'm like super interested in this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty into the whole spiritual scene and I wouldn't say I'm religious or anything like that, but like it just fascinates me. So I remember speaking to your mum about it a little bit but yeah, it's kind of cool because in our family, it's not something that we really talk about, I don't think.
No.
Maybe in when it first happened, people were probably a little bit, what?
Some people believe, some people don't. So me personally, I've never told anybody.
Right.
It's kind of been family that's told people.
Right.
But personally, I've never told anyone. The only person I've ever told was my mum when it first happened. But other than that, I've never told anybody.
Right. Is there why?
People are so like spectacle of it. So like some people are probably like, no, you can't. And then like want you to prove it. And sometimes they can't always prove it.
Right.
So like they have to have so much energy to build it up, to be able to like move something or to do something for you.
Right.
And kind of like, even though it's really cruel, but sometimes like you have to be like, oh, I'm not going to be a friend, or I'm not going to speak to you for them to do something. Okay. Like, obviously my first person that I ever got through was...
Yeah, please.
And
he's dead.
Yeah, I didn't know whether like you had to get permission off their family.
No, not at all. No,
sorry,
we'll be sweet.
Sorry,
We'll be
sorry.
sweet. We'll
Are
be
you gonna have to cut that out?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it was Andrew.
Yeah. So okay, let's just unwind. So how did this happen?
Okay. So
what was the first thing?
Right. So we were in the car coming back. I think it was like Easter time. We'd been to Seaside, and I were in car with my cousins.
Right.
And I says, we were all bored. So I says, should we play this game? So you have to use a coin and like heads were yeah, tails were no. And we just kind of like, I says, right, let's flip it. And I really wanted it to be like a little girl. So everything I was saying, but it wasn't true what I was saying to them. So it flipped and I was like, oh, you a girl, flipped it. And it was no, but I went, oh yeah, it's a girl, like that. And then I was like, are you young, are you old? And we're flipping it. Oh, she's little.
So you were just playing a game?
Yeah,
so
we was
like
literally just playing this game. And then we all just ended up falling asleep. But before starting the game, you have to flip the coin and say, are we okay to enter the spirit world? And we flipped the coin, and obviously it said, yes, we could. But I was the one doing the coin the whole time.
How did you know about that game? Did you make it up?
I think it was something like we did at school.
Okay.
You know, just like...
One of those silly things.
Yeah, silly little things that you never really think was going to ever happen like it did. So we were like literally just flipping the coin, and then we all ended up falling asleep. So we never said, can we leave this spirit world? And we all just fell asleep, and then it was kind of done, you know, like you just don't think about it. The next morning I got up and I was in the mirror brushing my teeth.
And you're 10 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just saw someone behind me. So I kind of like turned around and he was there. And I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought like, oh, you know, bit strange, but never mind. I never said anything to my mum or anything. Went downstairs, had breakfast, went to school. He was there all day at school with me, doing daft things like in class. And I was like, this is really not okay. I never said anything to anyone. I come home and I just said to my mum, Mum, a man's followed me home. So my mum was like, what? And I went, yeah, a man's followed me home. And so my mum looked outside and she was like, well, where is he? He's there, Mum. He's there across the road. And my mum was like, where? He's there, Mum. He's there. And my mum obviously couldn't see. And I was describing him. I was saying he's like this, he's like that. And I was saying he's there. But obviously she couldn't see anything. So then she were like, you're losing it. Because it was around time. Nana had passed. Dad had left.
Yeah.
So mum just thought everything.
Got a lot going on like, as a family anyway.
And then obviously she just thought it's all gone top of me. And now I'm just going crazy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how it kind of just all come about.
Okay.
So don't ever play that game. Basically, don't ever do it. Because you could be like me. But yeah, some people say it's a gift. Some people say you're like cursed. And some people say don't believe it.
Yeah, for sure. So you can see a guy at the end of the drive. Mm-hmm. What does it look like to you at that point? Like, is it literally just a man?
It's hard to yeah, it's kind of really hard to describe because they are like pale.
Yeah.
The clothes are pale, but I know what clothes they're wearing.
Okay.
It is really strange that I know what colour they're wearing, but looking at them, they're not wearing that colour, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's really strange, like really bizarre how it works.
Okay.
I don't always see them. Sometimes I just hear them.
Okay.
Sometimes I see. Sometimes I get a feeling when I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes that someone could be passing, I think.
Okay.
You know, somewhere where it could be someone close to you.
Yeah.
Something like that could sometimes happen.
Mm-hmm.
I've only really just recently kind of experienced something like that.
Okay.
Since working at school.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting even for me because every day is different. You know, like you wake up and you never know who you're going to meet. You know, like you never know whether they're going to be like dead or alive.
So we'll get into this probably a bit more, but is it still happening now? Still?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Because I remember this. You had a way of turning it off. Is that right?
Yeah, you have to shut your chakras down.
Okay.
So they told me when I went to like spiritualist church, if you use pretend it's like a book and you have to shut, I think there's 7 chakras, I think.
Okay.
And you have to shut them all down. And then once you've shut them down, that's kind of like you can't see or anything.
Right.
And that kind of like lasts then for quite a long time. Not like it'll probably last a day and then you'll start seeing again.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't last.
Obviously, for some reason, I just assumed that you'd done if you've shut your chakras down. I remember my dad telling me that.
Yeah.
But he got it totally wrong. He's like, she put shackles on, and I was like, okay. That's kind of a bit medieval, but all right.
Yeah. No.
I just assumed that you could put them on, and then that's it. Done. No. Book closed. Okay, so go back there because it's super interesting with the Andrew thing because more happened with Andrew.
Lots happened.
Yeah,
with
let's
him.
go through the Andrew story because I think that's like arguably
the
for me
biggest one that ever happened.
Yeah. So there's a man stood on the end of the drive.
Yeah. He didn't tell me his name. He lied about his name. I can't remember what he said his name were, but he said his name was something else. And then that night we was going to do this sport thing, and he followed us there. We ended up leaving early because I kind of freaked everybody out because I was like, his feet are there, his feet. And I was like, oh my God, like, because obviously I could only see him.
Yeah.
And we ended up leaving early, this gym thing, and we went to church.
Right, really?
Mom and my auntie thought, best thing to do, go to church. And like, I don't know what they thought, but we were like, okay, we'll go with this. And it was chucking it down with rain. And we got to this church and it were at top of this hill. And I was like, it's coming. So we're all running up this hill to get away from him. I don't know why we thought we could get away from him. We're like running up this hill. Like, I was like, he's following us. So we went all the way up there. He was kind of like, I don't know what you want me to do. And we were like, I don't know what you want. Like, I don't know what was meant to do. But it was just really hard and bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
he made me win like cross country run at school because he was chasing me and I was running that much. I was like, oh my God, just go away. So I won that from him chasing me. But it took a lot for people to start believing. I think because Andrew was really strong, really like powerful.
And that's the first one.
Yeah. He was really strong and really powerful. And he, I think, made people believe me that I wasn't going insane. We finally got to his name. He finally admitted what his name were.
How did you find you could speak to him?
I could speak to him. I could either like speak to him like this or in my head.
Yeah. But how did you discover that? Did you just try it?
Yeah. Okay. Mum kind of just said, like, say hello to him, see if he will speak to you. So I kind of just like, hello, like, what's your name kind of thing. So it kind of, Mum kind of said, like, to try and speak. And then he did kind of admit what his name were. We ended up, he guided us to his house. We went granddad to his house. He said, like, this is where I lived. He stood outside the house. Yeah. So me and Mum went to the house and we were like, didn't Andrew used to live here, and said his last name and everything. And they were like, yeah, he had Alzheimer's. Right. And yeah, this is where, like, he died. And we were like...
So you're literally just asking him, right, where did you live?
Yeah, and he just guided us to his house, which I wouldn't know where his house were. I didn't even know him.
No. And this is just to add into here for people that are listening, actually, that obviously I've known you my whole life. Yeah. And you are not the sort of person to, like, lie or manipulate or, like... Obviously, it's tough for people probably listening because they just, like... She's just playing a game with... Exactly. Like, but I know you, like, quite well. Yeah. All right, we're not, like, super close... We are a close family, but like we're not like, we don't do this very often, like sit and chat. But like I know that you were really young when this happened, and there's no way you could have manipulated this situation.
No, I
just to try and like play games with people.
No, I wouldn't know where somebody lived, and to even make sure, my mum actually went to the door and said, "Is this where he lived?" And they're like, "Yeah." My mum was like, "Oh my God, like, what is she doing? Like, how does she know this?" And once we were waiting for my sister and my cousin to come out of school, and we used to wait in this like ditch bit in the car, my mum says, like, get him to move something then. Like, get him to move something. It was a lovely sunny day. There were no wind, no nothing. It was a beautiful day. We were sat in the car and my mum says, like, let's get out and look, that wheelie bin there. Tell him to move that wheelie bin there.
What was your mum thinking at this point, do you think, about this whole thing? Like, what is she thinking?
Still, like, a bit I can't say that word. Like,
suspicious?
Like, spectacle of it all. You know, like, I think she would believe it. She did believe.
Skeptical.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of the word skeptical.
Yeah, like, I think she did believe, because obviously I wouldn't have known where he lived. Yeah. There was no reason for me to know where he lived. And like you said, internet weren't really about them days, so I couldn't even Google somebody back then, like, really, to get all that. And at 10, it's not something you do at 10-year-old, try and find someone dead. No. Do you get what I mean?
Just to try and...
it wouldn't enter your mind to do something like that.
No.
So I think, like, she did believe, but obviously you watch things on telly and you think, oh, like, so Mum said, oh, let's try and move this wheelie bin. And so I said to him, like, move that wheelie bin. And he wouldn't do it. So I said, I don't want to be your friend then. Like, I'm not going to speak to you. I don't want to help you. I don't want to be your friend or anything. Next thing, this wheelie bin went from standing up straight, right over, and then back up straight again.
Was that the first time you'd seen
something
the first time you got someone to do something?
Yeah, get him to do something. So we were like, oh my God. So Mum were like, run! So for some reason we ran back to the car, even though, like, it was kind of now then, like, a bit of a friend now to me, because he'd been with me for quite a bit.
Right.
So it kind of like, it was normal now to me for him to be there.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of like just normal. And then once went to my auntie's house and there were quite a lot of us there. And I think you was there.
I wasn't, but I think I know the story, but please go on.
We were at my auntie's house, and we ended up saying, like, move the swing, and beautiful sunny day, no need for anything.
I know the swing set.
And
top of a garden.
Yep. And this swing, it swung high in the air, high back in the air, and then back still, like, just still. And it freaked everybody out because obviously by then I was kind of used to it. So it was kind of like normal for me to see this thing swinging. And then it just stood back still. And everyone was like, oh my God, she's not lying.
Yeah, it's for real.
Yeah, like she's not playing now. But yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this guy, Andrew, is obviously started at the end of the drive. He's guided you to the house.
Mm-hmm.
What ended up happening? Like, what do you think, what did he want?
I never really got to the bottom of what he wanted.
Right. Was he killed in a car crash? No?
No.
No, okay.
No, that's it. Well, we think Shauna,
Right.
she's my little, not my little girl, but she's like my little girl.
Yeah.
And she's 3. She's never grown up. She stayed 3 for how long I've had her for, which is quite a long time.
Yeah.
Before I've even had mine. So, like, Lula's 4 now, so I've had her before then. When you say, like, what happened, she'll go, chicka, 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 chicka.
Right.
So we reckon, and she talks about, like, Nana and Grandad, so we reckon she were Nana and Grandad.
Okay.
And it must have been a train crash. But she's too young to, like, go into detail with you about what happened. So I don't really get much from her, but
Okay.
she's nice company. She's young. She likes to. It sounds really dapper. Like at night, I sometimes see curtains move, and she's playing with curtains. She'll move his curtains in like his bedroom and stuff. And
Really?
When I used to be at my mum's house, I used to be like, Mum, look, she's playing with curtains, and they'd only like do a little bit at bottom because she could just like reach up like this, and she moves curtains with her hands, like just playing with them. But it sounds daft, but I watch her like playing with my children, even though my kids don't know anything about it, and I never want them really to know.
Yeah.
It's just something that me and my partners decided not to.
Yeah. Just keep it to yourself.
We want, so we're kind of like, we are keeping that from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll sit down with them, she'll watch telly with them and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, like, it's such a shame that, like, they don't know that there's, like, someone else playing with them. It's so bizarre.
A sister that they don't even know they
yeah,
have.
yeah, kind of.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that more. But Andrew, sorry, just to go back again. I want to close that chapter a little bit because it's interesting. So, is he still around? Did he go somewhere? Is that right?
My granddad that passed away on my dad's side of the family, he came through. My dad didn't believe. He thought, nah, you're crazy, you're mad, like, it isn't true. Like, she's just wanted a bit of attention, I think my dad thought, like. And then my granddad came through, and we wasn't allowed to go to my granddad's funeral, so I didn't know what my granddad was wearing. I didn't know anything about what happened at my granddad's funeral or anything.
So sorry for people listening.
Yeah.
So your granddad passed away.
Yeah.
Sorry, obviously.
Yeah.
You didn't go to the funeral.
No.
Because of like family stuff, right? Okay. So then he came through as a spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's
I'm
all
not very
right.
clear on that.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's not something that we normally talk about. So I'm just like slowing you down a little bit. Just like, right, what? Yeah. Go for it a bit more.
Yeah. So he came through. He wanted to see my nanan. She's alive.
Yeah.
He wanted to speak to her about something. So I rang my dad. I said, Dad, my granddad's here. He wants to speak to Nanan. So he's like, you're not getting your Nanan involved. That's not okay. Like, because obviously didn't believe. So you're like, you're not doing that. That's not okay. Like, you can't be bringing people into it that don't need to.
Yeah.
I like, but he's here. So my dad was like, okay then, what were you wearing? And I described what he was wearing down to a T. And my dad then were like...
At his funeral?
Yeah. And that's when my dad was like, okay, like, they'll get Nanan up to you.
Yeah.
So my Nanan came up. I can't remember exactly what he needed to say to her, but he said what he needed to say. And then he went.
And he tells that to you, and then you pass that information.
Yeah. So I kind of like relay everything that people say. And then he then he went. And then we used to go to a spiritualist church, and the women used to tell me, like, how they showed me how to shut like my chakras down. they told me like how I can like communicate better, and
Oh, right,
they
yeah.
kind of like guided me in a way that I needed to be, and like what to look out for if it could be an evil spirit, how to kind of like get rid of them, and they kind of like just guided me along. But they said if you have a loved one that's passed away, bring them down and they can take others away for you.
Okay. Wow.
So obviously, my mom didn't want Nana coming down.
Yeah.
She was like, no. She
For our
says,
listeners, that's like our
yeah.
Nana.
Just because normally they say if they're in that middle bit, they're lost. And because Nana hasn't been to us, she's happy.
Okay.
So mom kind of didn't want to disturb Nana's happiness if she's happy. So kind of said, okay, well, Granddad's been down.
Really?
My granddad, no, my grand,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
not granddad.
Okay.
Yeah, my granddad's been down, so obviously he's okay to come down to then go back up.
Yeah.
He's kind of satisfied. So he ended up coming down, collecting Andrew and taking Andrew away.
Okay.
And that's how he kind of went, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's how we kind of moved Andrew along.
Okay.
But because I was so young, I didn't understand that sometimes they're here for something. Like obviously to tell.
Yeah,
loved
like
ones
What is it then?
things.
Is it, what do you think's happening when these people don't go from? Is it safe to say that they go from like literally being alive to being dead, but then they don't all the way go dead?
Yeah.
Is that about right? It's hard to explain.
Yeah. My partner, his Nanan just dropped dead. She was in the middle, I think, of making drinks for her and her partner.
Yeah.
And she just dropped dead making drinks. I've never met his Nanan or anything. And that night after she passed away, I saw her. She come to me and she says, yes, T2 sugars. And she kept telling me T2 sugars. And I described to Dylan how she had her hair, what she looked like. And I kept saying, T2 sugars, Dylan. What is tea with 2 sugars? Who has that?
Yeah.
So we got in touch with his mum and we said, does his granddad have tea with 2 sugars? And she was like, yes, why? I was like, I've got the nan here telling me he has tea with 2 sugars. But she died making cups of tea for them both.
Oh,
so
wow.
maybe she was finishing off making the drinks and she didn't get to put the sugars in. I don't know, but she kept saying it's tea with 2 sugars. It's tea with 2 sugars, and I was like, okay, like I'll tell them it's like he has tea. I'm thinking, yeah, that's fine. So I just kind of said like it's tea with 2 sugars. She wants me to say it's tea with 2 sugars. After that, she kind of just I didn't see her again. Like
Really?
yeah, that was kind of it. Like
It's almost like they've got something
to say. To somebody.
Wow.
But yeah, after she kind of said that, I've never seen her again.
Right.
So obviously she needed to get to somebody to say.
How do you think they know that? Have you thought about it? Like how does that lady know to come to you?
Yeah,
you
it's
think
strange,
that?
isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Like I really don't know. Like how they know to come to me. I don't know. I don't know whether it's just because I hear him and then it's like like
Yeah,
I'll
like you have
speak.
access to this thing.
Yeah. I don't know how they come like connected to you. I really don't.
No. God, that's crazy. No, I don't mean crazy. I mean that
no,
with the
it's
greatest
alright.
respect. It's crazy interesting.
Yeah.
It's like so interesting.
Yeah.
So you spoke just before about Shauna. Mm-hmm. When did Shauna appear, and what is she? Like, is she? There's this term that's like thrown around, I guess, in these sort of like spiritual things, like a spirit guide.
Yeah.
Do you think is that kind of what she is, or
No?
Okay.
No. I don't know how she come about. I can't really remember. It's been that long since I've had her.
Yeah.
She's just kind of in my life now. I can't remember how she got here or what was mentioned for her to come. My mum keeps saying like, you should send her up now and like let her.
Because do you have the ability to do that then?
Yeah.
Could you
I could
literally
easily
just
get my granddad that got Andrew. He could come back and take her away.
Okay. So what? Sorry. So many questions.
No, it's all
I'm
right.
so annoying.
No,
So what
it's
does that
fine.
look like for you to bring Andrew down? Is it a conversation in your head,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
or and you can just make that person come down
yeah, and come and
and take her away?
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like my mum keeps saying like, do you not just think it's time to let her go? And I'm like, yeah, but what about if she's happy here now?
Yeah.
Like we know each other now, and she's just kind of, she's part of me now, you know, like even though no one else sees her, she's always with me.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of like part of me.
So she's just around.
Yeah.
She's around now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember this happening a lot, like years ago when it was a bit more that we spoke about it a bit more. And I'd be
Everyone
like,
was
is she
just like-
here? And you're like, yeah. Like, say hello.
She's just there.
Wow.
But yeah, like she's just here. Like
Yeah.
she's just here. Sometimes it's just normal now. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
see
yeah.
it as anything else.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
good.
normal.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking on the drive over, we had that night at my ex-girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember that.
So that were right eventful night.
That was an eventful evening. So I thought I'd just go over
Yeah.
that story because it was quite interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
So it seems that people have an ability to see or feel or hear these things. That's quite fair, I think. And my ex-girlfriend always had this thing that she could feel presence in this house that she lived in. So I'm going to get some of these facts wrong. You'll probably be able to,
Yeah, it's all
to
right.
tidy them up a little bit because it was an hell
There
of an
was so much that went off that night.
hell of an evening.
Yeah.
So I remember my ex-girlfriend just saying to me like, yeah, I have feelings in the house. I keep thinking maybe there's someone in here, etc. So obviously I was like, well, I have a family member who has this ability and maybe we should get her to come over. And I remember speaking to you obviously and you were like, yeah, have you, before doing that, were other people asking you to do these things? Like,
No.
oh, can you just come and have a look?
No, I
Okay.
think you were like the first one
Okay.
that ever asked.
Yeah. And it was probably 10 years after it first started happening as well. It was a good 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Probably, no, more. I've been with Emma 10 years, so probably
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, you came over. I think I came and picked you up with our auntie, your mum,
Yeah.
and your sister. And we're in my ex-girlfriend's house. And you straight away were like, there's loads of people here that are like minors. And then my ex-girlfriend, who doesn't matter her name, Amy, was like, yeah, the house is built on an old mine.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, I thought so. There's people in the garden. There's, all sorts of people around. And then there was the girl that you found upstairs, I think. I think it was upstairs, yeah. And I'll never forget it. I'll never, ever forget because, again, I'm kind of sketchy on like what actually happened. But I remember you saying there's a little girl in this room. She was saying, like, screaming stop. There was something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah. She'd come over from America with her mum.
Yeah.
And mum had met someone over here. And he ended up murdering her.
Yeah.
And I was describing what she was wearing, what she looked like, and she said, "My mum's coming back for me." My mum says she'll come back for me, but he'd killed her.
Right.
I think the mum and the stepdad are doing time.
Oh, still?
I don't know
Oh, right.
whether
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
but
yeah.
obviously back then they was doing time for it.
Yeah.
But the grandparents in America had made a Find Me
that's it.
page
Yeah.
to try and find her.
Yeah, I remember.
But I was like, she's here, like,
Yeah.
I've got her here.
So you're basically talking to this girl, and then your sister, my other family member, just brought up this page on her phone.
And we're like, who was
Is this her?
that?
And you were like, yeah, that's her. And oh my God, it gives me a bit of goosebumps now. I was like, oh my word. Like,
Yeah.
that's, for me, I think that was the point for me. And I'm not saying I didn't believe you before, but that was the point when it was just like wow.
How would I know from
How would
some,
you
like,
have any clue about this
and-
small little blog
yeah,
that someone
it was
had created?
literally like a spare of the moment thing, me coming to you. So I wouldn't even have time to like kind of Google what I was going to pretend to find, like anything like that. It were, you said, we're coming to get you, we'll come straight over.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know someone from America, a little girl, like being murdered, and mum and dad are doing time, like mum and stepdad are doing time. I wouldn't know any of that.
No. Yeah, so that was, for me, that was just everything. I was just like, right, I'm in, like hook, line and sinker. I'm in.
Yeah.
Like incredible, and I'm all in on this. There was that, and I think there was another girl that you discovered in that house.
Yeah.
A local girl, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a car crash or something. Again, I can't remember. Do you remember that one?
I remember another little girl, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But I also remember there was a little boy that really didn't like her.
Right.
Can you remember?
Yeah,
he
because...
had long socks on, shorts, really old-fashioned.
Yeah, do remember that.
But he didn't like her.
Right.
I remember like he was really like aggressive towards her.
And that was the
they were
one where I
talking.
think Amy was saying that like things would maybe break and stuff in the house, or doors would get slammed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you think
and
that
it was
him.
like him, because he was really like aggressive towards her. Like he weren't really happy with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like that little boy being there as well.
So do you ever come across like darker
I've
energies?
never.
You've not?
No.
Amazing.
Never. I've only ever had like nice ones.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Just lucky.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because they say like the darker ones will kind of get you to do nasty things. They'll try and talk you into doing things like to people and stuff. So I've never had anything like that. So
It's kind of like, it's probably not the same, but it might be. But it's, people say they get possessed,
yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
And they maybe commit a murder or like something
And
crazy
then they'll
like
go,
that.
that weren't me.
Someone was telling me to do,
Yeah.
and that's what maybe that's what it could be.
Because
Wow.
when I used to go to spiritualists, they said if you get a bad one, they will tell her to like do things, and that's when you need to like kind of call it off, like tell them to go away and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like luckily I've not experienced anything like that.
Okay. So what is like the most, I don't know. I hate the word crazy. I'm really sorry I keep using it, but like
It's
the
alright.
biggest, what's the one that's made you be a bit like more surprised than anything, and that's really blown you away of someone that's come through that you've spoken to or something?
I haven't had anything like that. My sister's partner,
Yeah.
his mum wanted me to go to her house, so we went to her house, and she was like, she loves stuff like this as well, so she was like, just come and like have a look around my house for me, kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, okay. And there was somebody in the garden, sorting the garden out. Somebody that's passed away was sorting their garden out, and I says, oh, there's an old man on your garden. Is like looking after your garden. And then he turned around and saw me there, and he was like, tell Bert I love him. Tell Bert I love him. Tell Bert I love him. Like, and I says, he's saying tell Bert that he loves him. And his mum was just like, oh my God. Because we only ever known him as Richard.
Right.
But
Okay.
his real name is Albert.
Oh wow.
So, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows his real name is Albert. He is known as Richard.
Right.
And so she was like, oh my God, like him and his dad didn't have a really good relationship. So he'd come through to say like, but he used to call him Bert.
Okay.
So he's like saying, tell Bert I love him. Like,
Wow.
like everything's okay kind of thing. Like, I do love him.
Wow.
He still doesn't, he can't get his head round how I knew that.
Who's
like,
that? Who can't?
Richard.
Richard, right.
But like, he can't believe like how I'd know something like that. He says like, I do believe you. He says, because you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
He's like, but I don't know how you
It's
know
not,
that.
you can't put like a science on it or
yeah,
anything.
he doesn't know, like, he just says, like, I can't get my head around, like, how you would know that. Like, and I'm like, I don't know that. He's told me that. Like, I don't know that. Like, he's told me to tell you that he loves you.
Yeah.
Like, I've not thought that.
Do you have like actual conversations, or is it always these like little bits of information?
Yeah, I'll have, like, conversations.
They can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they'll just speak back to you like normal. Okay.
Yeah. We can just have a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Other than that, working at school, recently, Mum and her and another cleaner, they went downstairs to clean a different area. I was in an area on my own. I work on year 4, and I was hoovering the stairs. I kept hearing somebody coughing, like really struggling, like coughing. So I turned like Hoover off. I'm thinking, who is that? Who is struggling? Like, so I had a look, and I can't see anybody. And then I'd switch my Hoover on again, and I'd cough, 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 cough. Turn my Hoover off. They're coughing, coughing, coughing. I'm like, who is it? But there was nobody there. Like, I could sense things, and I'm thinking, like, but I can't see. So I met back up with Mum downstairs, and I says, who is it? Who's in the building, Mum? And Mum's like, nobody. I says, there's somebody coughing. Somebody's really choking and coughing. A little boy had died from an asthma attack, and he was in year 4.
Oh, wow.
So
Recently?
no, he died like quite a long time
Okay.
ago, but that's kind of recent when I started working there.
Right.
And obviously, like, they've not had anyone like that can see spirits at
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
So it's like the first time I was kind of like on my own cleaning, and obviously I must have.
So can you get it mistaken with a real person?
Yeah, sometimes you can.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, like sometimes, like when they're just coughing, it kind of like echoes, you know, like a little bit, like how we would cough, it'd echo a little bit. It was kind of like that because obviously the school's nobody's in it, so it's quiet.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
you do get that like where it can confuse you a bit.
Okay.
And then the other time was they recently had a teacher that's passed away. But that morning I said to Mum before we knew that she'd passed, I says, there's a really weird energy in school today. I says, I can't put my finger on it. I says, but the energy is really sad, really. I says, it's not a nice energy. Like, it feels really sad and upsetting. I says, and I don't know what it is. And Mum was like, I don't know what it could be. And then later that day we found out the teacher had passed away.
Right.
So I says to Mum, that's the first time I've ever had that like feeling.
Yeah.
And then I said to Mum, I wonder whether I was sensing her passing.
Yeah.
Because obviously she worked at school. Did
You're, like,
I
closer
sense
to
her?
her.
Yeah, like did I sense the passing because I was in school? I says I've never experienced anything like that before.
Okay.
It was like my first time, but it was kind of like I just could feel really. It felt different.
Yeah.
It just felt different, and I just said to Mum, it feels different, the energy and everything. And then later that day, we kind of found out she'd passed,
Wow.
and it was like. I wonder whether it's like, I don't know whether it is or not because I've never experienced it, but it just kind of felt.
I'm a
like
big believer in the
connected.
energy thing myself. I think when you meet people
Mm-hmm.
and you straight away, you can go, oh, I don't like that person. They give off a
Yeah.
bad energy.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in energies. I really
Yeah.
am. And it's like you, being around you, it's lovely energy. Like, it's nice. Whereas you can be around other people, though, and you're like, oh, there's something off here. Like, there's
Yeah.
a dark energy. And I guess I've been around people, too, that are passing away, and it's like the energy's different. I don't know if it's like somber or there's like just something different in the air.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah, like you've picked up on that
Yeah.
externally, which no one else has the ability to
Yeah,
do.
it was just strange just how I said to Mum in that that morning.
Yeah.
It feels different. Like the energy feels different in school. It doesn't feel like how it should do.
Yeah.
And then obviously later on getting the news, I kind of said to Mum, like, I wonder whether that's connected. Like I felt the passing of her.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's come to light that she has passed.
Have you ever been around someone that's dying and felt different?
No.
No.
Obviously with our granddad passing.
There's nothing.
No, I never suspected.
I think what's
anything.
really cool as well is that, you know, some people are asking you to do these things and like come over and do, like, you could just say anything.
Yeah.
But you're obviously not.
No,
and I think
I
that's
never
really
would.
commendable. I think you should be super proud of that because
Thank
yeah, but you could though. And I think
Easily.
I was thinking about it a lot before coming over that there's a lot of people making a lot of money out of doing this stuff, hell of a lot. And has it ever been a thought of you to be like, actually, because I guess what could you be? Is it called a medium?
I think so.
I think so as well. I was kind of because there's all sorts of different types
there's like
of mediums.
psychics, isn't there?
Yeah.
Spiritualists.
Yeah.
But I think they're all classed as like mediums.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Classed as something else off that branch.
And again, the fact that you don't really know speaks volumes because it's not like you're like, oh yeah, I could be a medium easy and I can just do this, this, and this, and I charge 500 quid.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't know because you're not doing it for that.
No.
Like even, you know, you obviously weren't too stoked on doing a conversation about it because you just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think there's all these huge names, especially in America, obviously.
Yeah.
Hollywood people that are millionaires off probably having this gift that you've got.
Yeah.
So is it a thing? Are you like, actually, I could use this to to like build a career or
No.
Okay.
No, I'd always help like people out, you know, like such as you with your ex-girlfriend saying, can you come over and like have a look. I'd always be open to like do anything like that for like family members. But there's so many negative people out there, and it's that I don't think.
Right. You don't think you deal well with it if you were like a public
figure,
I think almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people are quite negative about it and just think, is she real? You know, like, because a lot of people don't believe more than probably do believe. And I think people always want the proof.
Yeah.
Which obviously sometimes you can't always prove that.
No. You can't prove it to every single person either.
No. So I think sometimes, and I'd never lie either. So like, if somebody did come to me and say, like, oh, can you see if someone's here? If I didn't see anybody, I would be honest and I would say no.
Yeah.
And I don't think people would appreciate the honesty sometimes because people always want to believe that there's somebody there, don't they? You know, like,
I think that's the thing, especially with turning it into a business and reality TV shows and stuff, is every week it's got to get better. It's got to get more.
Yeah.
And then that's where you lose that trust in it. You're like, are they doing this because it's real or are they doing it because it makes great TV?
Exactly.
I don't know.
No, because I've never kind of like brought anybody to somebody either. You know, like say if you said, oh, like, can you bring such and such here? I've never done that. So, and I wouldn't want to do that because for me, I feel like, no, that person's not there for a reason. That person is happy.
Yeah.
If that person wasn't happy, they would be here to talk to you. So personally, I just think like so many people would be negative about it if I said, sorry, no, there ain't anybody. They'd be like, well.
That was a waste of time and money.
Yeah. But I never would lie either and just be like, oh yeah, they're here and they're like this because it's just not on.
What is your view on that out of interest? Like people that are mediums or these people that do massive event like arenas and talk about people being in the room. Do you think some of have you looked into it? Like, is some of it real? Is some of it fake?
I don't know. I don't, even though I see them, I don't really like, it sounds really bad, but I don't take interest in anybody
Awesome.
else.
Yeah.
I know that's probably like, I don't know, but I don't really take interest in anybody else. Like, I know like Mum used to watch that Sally Psychic or something like on television.
Like that, I think I went to see her.
Did
Is she
you?
English?
I think so, yeah.
I think I went to see her again because my ex was really into this stuff. She did a thing, a gig at Sheffield City Hall, and we went and things were happening. She was saying, "Oh, there's a person here whose name is this," and who knows.
Yeah.
Things were actually happening, but then you just hear all these other stories of, microphones in the lobby or like, they're asking you to fill out a form when you go in. Is that the thing? And then she can find people
exactly before they go on stage.
Yeah. So you don't. It's hard to trust it.
Yeah.
Whereas with you, I can sit here and just be like, it's all legit.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you're an amazing liar. You're the best.
Well,
You should be an actress, never mind a medium.
I don't really take interest in like watching anybody else do it.
Yeah.
Like.
Can you see things on TV?
No.
Okay.
No, Mum's asked that before.
Yeah, because obviously again there's these like hunter shows and like ghost hunter shows, and I was like, I wonder if you can.
Yeah. No. But we once watched a program, me and my partner, and we were like, "Can you see what they're seeing?" I'm like, "No, no." And he's like, "What? So you can't see that there's somebody? So are they lying?" I'm like, I don't know if they're lying, I said, but I can't see what they're seeing. You know, like when they're seeing things move on telly and that, and it's like, can you see that person pushing that? Like, no. Like, I was like, I don't know, camera lens might.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, like, I don't know. Because sometimes when you see the pictures that some people like put on, you think, did you really get that picture? Or have you superimposed it? You know, sometimes I do think.
It's really cool though that you're like really skeptical about that whole movement.
Yeah.
Like that whole like ghost hunter like thing that you're like, you kind of don't get involved in it because you could easily.
Yeah.
And smash it out of the park probably. Like you'd be the best at it, I think. It seems that way.
Yeah. But I do what I do, but I'd never probably take it up as like a career.
Yeah.
But I'd always be there for like other people if they wanted help.
Nice.
You know, like obviously before being to my auntie's house and there were one lady in bath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Was she feeling stuff or?
No, I think
was
I
just
just
there?
went to the toilet and he was there in the bath, just laid in the bottom of the bath.
Right.
And then at my partner's mum and dad's house, there's a man stood in their bathroom.
All the time.
Yeah. But when I first went there, I didn't like him. He's a bit weird. Like
Okay.
he stands a bit like got his head
he's
down,
hanging
but
out
like
in a bathroom.
yeah,
It's
like
kind of strange.
Yeah, he's like got his head down, but he's like looking at you. But he's really tall as well.
Okay.
Fat, chunky.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can say
Of
fat.
course you can. It's fine.
Like it's just not really nice to look at. It's a
Yeah.
bit scary.
Right.
So when I used to go to the toilet, I used to text him saying, like, oh, what's his name? Is that
It's all
right?
right.
Is that, I'm sorry,
I get rid of
have
it
to
if
do
you
so
want.
much editing.
It's fine.
And I used to text him saying, like, I need toilet. So then I used to like go, oh, I need toilet. And so he'd be like, I'm just going to go and get something out of bedroom. So he'd go upstairs with me and stand outside because he knew by this point.
Yeah.
I used to stand outside and wait because I didn't like him.
Wow.
He
So that's the
really,
darker one that you've encountered,
yeah,
though. Not like
something
dark
like-
as mean, but
yeah,
like just a dark vibe.
like just looking wise, it was kind of like, like I never spoke to him. I kind of just put my head down like while on the toilet.
Do you think he knows that you can see him?
I don't know because I never really I never engaged with him.
Yeah.
I kind of like kept us separate, you know, like I never spoke to him. I used to put my head down and go to the toilet kind of thing and then wash my hands and leave. I never said anything to him. But yeah, he was one that like kind of put me off. So I always used to make him come upstairs with me while I went to the toilet. His mum and dad were probably like...
What, every time? What are they up to?
Yeah, but I used to... We have told his mum and dad.
Okay.
He ended up telling them what I see. But yeah, like... I'm never against anybody telling anybody.
Right.
But me personally, there's never been need for me to tell anybody because it was...
Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, it was my sister's partner that actually told my partner that I see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said that, like, because obviously my partner and my sister's partner are obviously best friends.
Yeah.
And he said to him, like, before you get with her, you do need to know something about her.
Oh, wow.
And said, like, she sees like spirits. But he is a believer, so he's kind of like, okay, kind of thing.
Right.
But I never told him about it, and he kind of kept dropping hints like, oh, I'd love to see like dead people, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, like, because I'd never told him. I thought it's a bit fresh to be talking about stuff like this, and I'm like, yeah. And then eventually I kind of says to him, oh, I do see dead people. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, what? Yeah, that's kind of like, but yeah, like even I didn't tell him first. He already knew.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, I've never told anybody other than my mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's just scared of what people say to you as well.
I guess with anything, it is a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you can appreciate that as well. It is a difficult one to get your head around, understand, because not many people have it.
No, because like my mum was saying, oh, I'd love to tell everybody at work.
But then you don't want to become this like show thing, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you don't.
Yeah,
and I guess I'd be the same actually as you. I'd be like, nah, I don't want people to know because I don't want people asking all the time, oh, is there anything here? And I think I probably did it to you as well.
Yeah.
I apologise, but...
No, everybody, when you first
it's your first
tell
reaction. It's like, is there anyone in here now?
Yeah. Like when you first tell somebody, you get every question thrown at you. It doesn't matter who it is, you get them thrown at you like, what do they look like?
Yeah.
What do they do? What can they do? What can you do? In like, is anyone here, like you said, and you just get everything thrown at you. So like every time I'm ready for it because I know that they're going to ask you every question in the book. And sometimes like I do think people try and trip you up.
Okay.
You know, like they'll say something and then try and reword it in a different way, but kind of say the same thing to see whether you are lying. And you're like,
right.
that, yeah, I've just answered you that, you know, like, I've just answered that question. You're just trying to, like, put in a different term.
And all you can do is be honest. It's
Exactly.
literally
Like,
as simple as that, isn't
yeah,
it?
there's no need to lie. Like,
No.
it is what happens.
Can you, sorry, I switched gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you explain the energy thing a bit better to me as someone who is an idiot? Like, so what is the energy thing? So how do these spirits have energy?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about like energies that they needed energy. Like some people don't have enough energy to come through as people. So that's why sometimes you only hear voices because they've not got that enough energy to come through.
Okay.
I learnt that from going to the spiritualist church.
Do you still go?
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, like they kind of guided me along the way of saying everything. So it kind of like they said they have to have energy to like move things.
Yeah.
So like for you to be able to see them fully, or sometimes you can only hear them, or like sometimes they only have energy to like move something, but not got the energy to come through. So
Right.
like they need energy to be able to do things to do. But I don't know how.
What do you think that energy is?
I don't know. I don't know how they get their energy because someone as little as Shauna, she has like all the energy to come through, and sometimes she can move curtains.
Yeah, you say, yeah, she can do things.
But then like sometimes if I say to her like, oh, Shauna, like, can you
tidy
just,
up?
Yeah, like I'll put kids to bed, tidy up. No, like if I say to her like, prove it to somebody, like move something, she doesn't really have much energy to be able to do that.
Okay.
It's only really light things that like she could do. But then obviously she's got enough energy to stand there.
Yeah.
Whereas like some, they can come through but don't have the energy to move anything. So it's just, I don't know how they get their energy, where it comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they said it, the spiritualist, once they've used their energy, they have to like get that energy back.
Like accumulate it
Yeah.
somehow. Right.
Yeah, so they can't just kind of like move something, move on to something else, move that. They kind of have to like build that energy back up to then be able to like do something again.
Okay.
But yeah,
So and the spirit people, can we say that? Spirit people, they can actually work with and touch things in our realm. Right. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And are they, when you're seeing them? Sorry, stupid question again.
No.
Are they like hover it? Do they hover, or do they walk on things? Like, for example, could Shauna walk on that table? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that a hard thing for her, or is it?
She's never done anything like that.
Right.
Like,
Or do they
if,
just
like,
pass through? Like, does she pass through a wall?
No, she actually just walk round.
Yeah.
But like, if the kids, because my kids are feral, like,
Feral. I can confirm.
they will stand on like the TV stand,
Yeah.
and like, but she won't. She kind of just stands at the side.
Okay.
Like if they're doing that, she'll kind of stand and just watch. But she's never tried, you know, like I've never said like, oh, go on, stand up if you want, you know, like, so she kind of just stands at the side and just kind of like watches them do their thing. So I think she knows what she can do.
But she has access then to like the whole world almost, because she
Yeah.
goes with you to different places.
Yeah.
If you go on holiday, she'll be there.
Yeah.
So she'll travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, sometimes like she'll come. It's really bizarre because like sometimes she'll come with us. You know, like if we're on the bus, she'll be stood like at the side of me. But then like in the car, there's not any room. So somehow then like I'll get there and she'll be there.
Right.
So it's like sometimes it's like, how do you know I'm going to be there? Like, you know, like sometimes she can just like, she might be, it sounds daft, be a bit later than us, but like
She'll get there.
She'll get there. Yeah, like she does come.
Right.
Like eventually she will come. But yeah, it's like sometimes she'll be with me on like transport, and then sometimes she'll just come, like she will just kind of come eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know whether she has to like, I don't know whether she uses like my mind to figure out where she needs to go. I don't know, but yeah, sometimes like she'll come with me, and then sometimes she'll just appear where I am.
Right.
And it's like, oh, hi, you're right, you're back. But yeah, like So yeah, it's odd. Like I don't know sometimes how they do half the things like they can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of accept and roll with it.
Cool.
Like whatever they can do, I just kind of just accept and.
Yeah. Do you think everyone has a spirit guide? Like, for example, and I'm not asking you to do it now because it's a strange question. Like, do I have someone around me? Do you think?
No.
Good. No, but so do you see other people and they've always got someone with them?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Because I don't know what the term means, spirit guide. Again, I've not looked into it enough.
No.
But you hear this term, I've got a spirit guide. And
Yeah.
I guess that sounds like what Shauna is to you. She's like a
Yeah.
spirit guide. So I just wondered if everyone has one of those.
Yeah. No. I can't sense anything around you.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But obviously, I used at his old house.
Yeah.
When we used to live at Smalldale.
Yeah.
That house was crazy. That had so
Really?
many like spirits in there.
That's the one where you first saw Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be an old woman in the
I
corner.
remember you saying about
Yeah,
that.
all dressed in black, black veil like thing over as well. And she was just standing in this corner. And he was like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
Wow.
And I used to hate her being in the house. She went there all the time, but most of the time she would be there. And I used to just think, what are you here? Like, go
Yeah.
away. Like, yeah.
Where's the most active place you've been? Because again, I'm just going back on family story here, that I remember you being on where my dad lives, Cemetery Road, and there's a cemetery there. And this is a story again, which I can't remember if I'm 100% accurate, but being on that road with my dad and granddad maybe in a car and being like, it's really active around here. There's people everywhere, there's spirits everywhere.
Yeah.
But you obviously didn't know the area. You
Yeah.
didn't know there was a cemetery there.
No.
You wouldn't have known the name of the road.
Yeah.
So is there like a place that you've gone that's like, this is crazy active?
Yeah, it's like sometimes I can walk up my stairs and the whole stairs is just full of people.
Yeah.
Just kind of like just waiting for you.
Right.
It used to be really bad at Smalldale. I used to sometimes walk upstairs and be like, nope, not today, and walk back down because it'd just be like, just full.
Too much.
Yeah, just full of people waiting, and I used to be like, no. And like sometimes like like reaching, you know, like say like me, and I used to be like no, and I used to go back downstairs, and then I'd shut myself down, and then be able to go back upstairs, and it'd just be upstairs like.
Nice.
And you kind of have to switch off that there are people there.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've just seen them, but I've gone upstairs, I've shut myself down. So I'm just, I know you shouldn't use this term, but then I'm normal, you know, like I'm just like what you're like. So then it's like I go upstairs and then I have to forget there is people there.
Yeah.
And you just have to go about normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been situations when I have shut myself down, such as like when it was Granddad's funeral.
Right. I guess those places are active around.
Or
you just didn't want him, or
yeah, I didn't. My mum's always said like she wouldn't want Nana or Granddad to come through.
Okay.
Because that means that they're not happy.
Right.
So being at his funeral, I really didn't want him to be there watching us. You know, like I don't know whether he were there because I shut myself down, but I didn't want to see him seeing us.
Yeah.
So I kind of just shut myself down, and then I know it's all okay. Like I'm just at the funeral, like you guys, and I'm not seeing nothing. But the churches are all christened, so nothing can be inside a church.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So like whenever, because we was going to get our house christened, like whatever you call it. Like,
Yeah, I can't remember what the term
yeah,
is.
no, like, but we were going to get our house done at Smalldale because it was just that active. It was hard to live sometimes because there was like, because it was fresh, new. I was young.
Yeah.
It were kind of like sometimes it would just like just go away.
Just exhausting.
So like you can get your house done so that none of them can come in.
Oh right.
But yeah, like but now it's just everyday life, so it kind of just don't bother me now.
Yeah.
So like it's just like whatever happens, whoever wants to come in. But yeah, like now it's just normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just you see new people every day, like.
For sure. Do you? Is it new every day?
Yeah, new, no.
Yeah.
Obviously, I always have Shauna.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you just see new people.
Wow. You're never alone.
No.
You can never be lonely.
Never. Yeah, no, never.
You can
on
always
my
spark
own.
a conversation with a random person.
Like, well, I'm just sat there, I'm chatting away to someone.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes it can be in your head. Like, so sometimes I can be having a conversation with somebody and no one knows that I'm even talking to somebody because I'm talking to them through my head. So, like, sometimes I can have conversations that way.
And they're talking back. God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I want to say, like, I wish I had it, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I do. I think a lot of people will probably think the same. Oh, I wish I
Yeah.
could do that. But then it sounds like at times it's been a lot
Yeah.
and too much. And, like, I don't know. I did write a few questions down. I've not even looked at them. But one of them was, is your, like, view or relationship with death different to mine, do you think? Because you see another side of it all.
Yeah.
That's quite deep, I know. I'm sorry.
No, I am. One of my greatest fears is death.
Is it?
I never used to fear death. More so now I have children.
Yeah.
It's more the fact of what would they do without me? You know, like how does life go on without me? And it's more that. But I don't fear death as in like I'm scared what's on the other side because I feel like I know what could be on the other side now.
Yeah.
So I don't fear that. I fear death in the fact of
What do you
leaving.
think it is? What do you think's on the other side? Do you think you just carry on living?
Yeah,
Do you?
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool.
yeah. I
Okay.
don't think once you die, you die.
Okay. And
I
what do you
don't.
think? Okay. Sorry, we're going deep.
Yeah.
What do you think carries on? Is it like a soul? Is it
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I personally do think you do come back.
really? And that's like, I believe it's a Buddhist thing that it's like a
Yeah.
reincarnation. So
I
you
do
just keep
think-
living over and over
Yeah.
again.
Because just, you know, like when you say, oh, I've lived this before. You know, when you've done something and then you go, I've done that before. Like,
Yeah.
I've said that before.
There's a lot of especially kids, I think,
Yeah.
that have these memories of being a person.
I've read so many of them and I do
Yeah,
think,
there's a really interesting one called Mateus. I think he's called Mateus. I'll send you a podcast if you want. But he literally can recount like 6 lives from
mad,
being
innit?
all the way back in like ancient Greece, I think it is. And he can like recount all these different lives he's had.
yeah.
So you feel like that's a possibility?
Yeah, because I do because if you just died, and you just died and then that's it, then why do I see what I see?
Yeah,
So there's got to be something
yeah,
after.
yeah.
So I do believe there is another life.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's hard to even say it, I think, for you because
Yeah.
it's so like a lot of people are going to be like, what? But good on you for taking that stand because I want to agree with you as well.
Yeah, it's hard to agree.
But
because
I want to because I feel like it feels like there's got to be something else
Yeah.
after. It's kind of tough to think that all this emotion and all this energy and all these thoughts and stuff just
go.
stop,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, but obviously there's got to be something there because otherwise I wouldn't see what I see. I wouldn't hear what I hear. So and our auntie, she's been to like the ones that read what happens and what could happen and stuff
I've
like
been to
that.
one of those. As a psychic. sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and she's talked about our nana and granddad that they've gone back in time to age.
Okay.
Yeah, they've apparently gone back in age. And somebody that she used to work with that passed away due to alcohol.
Yeah.
She said to this woman that as Auntie's going to go and say, she said to her, alcohol killed me once, but it can't kill me again. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
So do you think you could like learn from this life and then you take it into the next one maybe?
Yeah, I do.
It's
I
tough,
do
it's
think
tough, I
there's
don't know.
something.
Yeah.
I do think we live on.
Yeah.
I don't think this is it. I honestly don't think this is it. And I do think sometimes people do get the second chance of life.
Yeah.
I do believe.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly
I do
nice to think, isn't it?
Yeah, I
that
do
you
think
just carry on.
people do get a second chance in life. I do. Even though, like, some people probably think, sure, you know. But I do think there is something out, like, more after.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just going to check, see if I had any.
Yeah.
It's been so fun chatting. I know we've only got a little bit of
Yeah,
time.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, I think I've literally covered everything that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
about all the, like, if you could make money out of it. We've done that. Yeah, we've literally, everything has come up that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you think we haven't talked about that's interesting?
No, but if you think of anything random that you want to ask,
Yeah.
like, don't think it's a daft question or don't think you
No,
can't
no.
ask me, because I am open to
You're an
talk
open book, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a proper open book.
Yeah, like, I'll talk about anything about it. Like, it doesn't bother me because, like you said, I'm not lying. So you can ask me anything and it can't trip me up because I'm not lying.
Yeah.
So I am open to everything. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Honestly, I don't think it's been super interesting.
Yeah.
I wish our auntie, your mum, was here, because I think she got really into this stuff for a while. I think we had a couple of family members, right, who got quite involved and wanted to know more and stuff.
Like my mum and my auntie, they went down to spiritualists like every week because they were kind of really got into it, and they become really good friends with the people that helped me.
Oh, nice.
And like, they used to stay and have a chat with them about like how I were getting on, and because they did say at one stage that once you like reach like your puberty, like when you reach 16, it could go.
Oh, right.
Or like if you have like something happen in your life, like after having children and stuff like that, it could go.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it's just, it stayed with me.
Yeah. What do you think it is? Like, what is it?
I don't know.
But where do you feel it, like, most? Where do you feel that connection? Is it in your head? Is it in your heart?
I don't know. It's just like all over.
Is it? Yeah.
It's just weird. Like
It's not weird.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's kind of like, it's just all over. Like,
Yeah.
it is all over. But like when I first started seeing them, everybody was constantly like, "Who's he? What they called?"
Yeah.
But like now, we don't even talk about it really anymore.
It's quite interesting that, like, as a family, because we are quite a close family, we're not as close as we used to be, which is fair, but like family events come up quite often.
Yeah.
And this topic just never comes up, right?
No.
People don't talk about it anymore.
No.
I certainly don't talk about it with you
Yeah.
at all. I think every now and again I'll be like, "Oh, you seeing anything cool? Like, is there any fun stories?" But
Yeah.
it's not something that we even discuss as a family, which I think would probably come to a surprise for a lot of people, because it would be like the news in the family all the time, like, what's going on?
Yeah, but yeah, like
I
now
use your name
it's
then,
just,
sorry, I'll take it
yeah,
now.
no, it's all right. Now it's just normal. Like, I don't think anybody thinks about it anymore, to be fair. You know, like, it's not something anyone talks about really now.
No.
It's just normal. Like, even my partner, he never says anything. It was only at the start of when he found out that he asked things.
But that, like, as well, it shows that you're not doing this for attention.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you bring it up a lot.
No.
You know,
no,
you're not walking around at family events going, "Oh, there's a bloke stood
there's
behind
someone
you."
There, someone there. Like,
You don't. Like, you
no.
literally do not, never. I've never seen you do it. So.
No, but like if someone said to me, "Oh, like you've just said, is there anybody around me?" I would say like, "Yeah," or I'll go, "No."
Yeah.
But I'd never lie and say yeah just for attention. You know, like I won't be like yeah, because you'll just get. I always think if you lie, you always get found out.
For sure.
So like if I said, "Oh yeah, it's blah de blah," and then you're thinking. You know, like you always get found out.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's always best just be honest. Like if I don't sense anything around you, I'm not going to say yeah for its sake, just to get you like excited. If it's not there, then there's nothing there.
No.
I just
You
think,
could say some crazy stuff. You have the ability. Not many people have that ability, but you
No.
could say some like stuff to
Yeah.
really put the fear up people for the rest of their life.
I'll go put a
Literally,
case on you.
the Grim Reaper is following you around.
yeah. But I just think like you should always just be honest about it.
Yeah.
Always. But yeah, like even after everything like puberty, reaching 16, children, it's never gone. So obviously it was meant to be.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, just don't ever play the game.
No,
Or at least
no.
remember to shoot yourself down. Like, can we leave
It's
this
so
thing
funny though,
alone?
that's how it started.
Yeah.
From a game at 10 years old in the back of a car. And that just opened whatever this portal is that you have access to. It just opened it. I've never heard anything like it before.
Yeah.
I don't think. But I was watching a clip earlier of a guy on the news, which is really interesting. It's like it's one of these Hollywood, medium guys. And he's all like, he's pretty fake looking. He's one of these dudes, like a fake Hollywood guy, right? Fake teeth and whatever. And he's doing a news article, like he's on the news basically. And they're like, and the news presenter says, "Oh, is there anyone here with me?" And the thing is here, right? The dude is on the news because he's promoting a book. So he's promoting something. So for me, I'm a little bit like,
Yeah.
what's going on? But then he starts saying, oh yeah, there's someone stood behind you who's wearing a military costume, a military uniform. And he says his name's this. And this guy who's doing the news report, like interviewing him, just starts crying. And he goes, oh yeah, he wants to say like, hello, Bert, or something like that. And
Yeah.
the guy's just like, what is going on? Like, how do you know that? That's my great granddad. He was called Bert. I think it was Bert, whatever, one of them. And I can't remember where we were going with this, but it makes you, I don't know, it's weird because it puts that thing on it of like, well, is this guy just selling books?
Yeah.
Whereas I know with you, there's nothing for sale. We're not doing this for anything other than just having a chat. And it's like, that's where
Yeah, because I could easily say like, yep, say my name, yep, I want my picture putting up after we've done this. You know, like if I wanted to promote it, I could have.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously...
A lot of people listen to this.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could use it for that, but we're not. Like it's
No.
not, it's more, I don't know, I just think it makes nice content anyway as well. I think it's kind of cool.
People that do believe in it will take a lot from it. But obviously the people that don't believe will probably think, no.
Yeah. But I think as well, with it being such like me and you talking, like such an honest conversation, there isn't an ulterior motive. We're not selling nothing. You're not like, oh, can I come on the podcast? Because I want to promote my services as a medium. Like there's nothing. We're literally just going to walk out of here today and that's it.
Yeah.
Which I hope really comes across in this, because I hope people do go, yeah, there was nothing behind this.
Exactly.
You know? It's just a chat.
Yeah. Just people.
Yeah, just exploring it. 'Cause it is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
It's like super interesting.
Yeah, but if anyone that follows, I've never done podcast either. Like I don't even know how it works or anything.
Yeah.
So like I don't even know like
Okay.
I'm not very like technical or anything, so I don't even know how podcast works or anything. But if anyone did ask any questions and they did want answers, you can always message me and
message us and I'll pass them on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because obviously
if they message you, it might get a lot.
If they message you, you get in touch with me and I can always answer like questions.
That'd be cool.
Obviously other people might think, oh, I want to know more about like what happened with Andrew or about Shauna, you know, like if people want to ask you things to ask me, then that's fine. I don't mind.
Really cool.
And you can always then do whatever you need to do.
Do you like look into this more? Do you read books or
no?
Nothing. Right. There's a really good book I'm going to buy.
I kind of just like live normal life.
Yeah. There's a really good book out that I was listening to a podcast. I know you're not into podcasts.
Yeah, no.
It's basically a radio show.
Yeah, right, okay.
It's basically a radio show.
Right.
And you've got an iPhone, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an app on your iPhone.
Right, okay, I'll have to download
it. You can download. It's so funny you don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, no. I just said yes, like, yeah.
Imagine if I turned up with like a film crew.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's live.
I did actually think like you was coming in with like a load of equipment. I said to Dylan, don't leave your shoes on the floor in case he falls over him. And then he might come in with like loads of bags. I was expecting like... I don't know what I were expecting to be fair.
That's so funny.
Yeah, because even my mum said, make sure you leave yourself enough time for David to tidy up because he might have got a lot of stuff. I went, oh yeah, you might all. We have no idea about podcasts.
That's so funny. But yeah, I was listening to something last night and it was a medium talking about it. Just got a bit, I don't know, I think people that are trying to make business out of this, they sell it harder and they're like, they have all this, it almost feels like they're just making it more complicated. And I'm glad like what we've spoke about, although it is deep and it's quite like involved, it's not like, it's hard to explain. Like these people that are selling something, they seem to go way deeper and they make these stories that are so elaborate that it's almost like, you're almost like, oh, whatever, like it's too much this. Because I was listening to something last night, and again, I'll happily send it you. But Emma was listening in the background and she was like, what is this? Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Why are they talking about this woman speaking to God? Like, it all of a sudden went from...
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you're like, this has got a bit heavy. This has got a bit like, I don't know if this is real or not.
No.
Again, I'll send you that as well. And more than, have a listen.
Yeah.
But I just wondered, because this woman had wrote a book about being a medium and like, basically how anyone can be a medium, and I was just a bit skeptical hippo, I'm a bit like, I don't know if that's true. I feel like you either have this thing or you don't. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So
no, but like if anyone has anything to ask or
Appreciate it. Thank you.
like they are more than you are more than welcome to
Yeah,
message
I'll
me.
pass them on to you. Well, I'm not giving out your Instagram
and
or
then,
anything like that.
Yeah, and then obviously you can do whatever.
Yeah.
Let me know what they've said and I can help you out. But
Amazing.
but yeah, that's me.
It's been fun, eh?
Yeah.
Not too hard.
No.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's wrap at that.
Yeah.
I got to go pick my van up now off my dad.
Oh.
Anyway, cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Hopefully we do it again.
Yeah.
Peace and love.
Yes.
Bye. It's always hard to end.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. What an episode. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this conversation. If you did, why not do us a solid and hit like, hit subscribe, and share this episode with your friends, family, or whoever you think might enjoy it. At the end of this episode, she obviously offered very kindly to answer any questions that you might have. The best thing I think to do with this is if you want to submit a question, head to our website, which is theridecompanion.co.uk. Use the contact form. Feel free to just send in a question. And if we get enough good ones, then again, she has offered to sit down and go through them, which I think could be fascinating, but no promises at this point. I just hope you guys enjoyed listening to this episode. And again, if you did, let us know. Share it, hit like, hit subscribe. And thank you ever so much, everyone, for listening. And a massive thank you to our guest for being such an open, honest, transparent book. Truly fascinating. Thank you.